Okay, hello and welcome back to the podcast. I think I'm going to start this with a little song that I'm going to talk about. Oh, John and Abigail, Abigail, oh, Abigail. Yeah, John and Abigail, oh, Abigail, sweet Abigail. Anyway, I was just going to do a piece of the song. Not the whole song, sorry. Anyway, here we are. I have things to talk about, so here I am. If you saw the TikTok, I talked about waking up and having only so much time. Not to only wake up, but to actually get out of bed and, muster up the energy and the focus and the courage to do what we need to do in America, because this is still America. We have not lost America, but I do think we need to wake up, and I think that we have a matter of time to take some action. Okay, so I'm going to jump right in here. I want to talk about why I believe we don't want to wake up. I think this is part of our problem. And so with the book and the entire project, I am always talking about a macro and a micro being the family and the macro being the nation and the world. And so I'm going to use an analogy of a family to explain what I'm talking about here. Okay, so I'm going to use the analogy of an adulterous marriage. So I believe that when I'm going to say a wife, okay, this could be a husband or it could be a wife, but I'm going to say that a wife begins to suspect that her husband is having an affair. She begins to see the signs of it. But she does not want to wake up to that. She does not want to. And when I say we don't want to wake up, what I mean is we don't want to face this or that, okay? We don't want to face a reality. And so here are the things, the main things that the woman, the wife in an adulterous marriage does not want to wake up to. She does not want to wake up to and face the feelings of betrayal and the feelings of hurt. And that's a huge thing. That's a huge, hard thing to wake up to and face as a reality. But almost as big or bigger is the fact that she does not want to wake up to and have to face the plan of now what to do. So, for example, the plan of packing up the house or staying in the house or leaving the house or getting a job or moving across the country or moving across town or, moving the kids, uprooting the kids. And that whole thing is so overwhelming that literally sometimes the overwhelming feelings that can turn into depression can actually literally make your body start to fall asleep or not want to wake up. So my point is that we in America are feeling those same sort of feelings, and we need to wake up, but we don't want to wake up. And we don't want to wake up and face the reality. We don't want to face the hurt of betrayal, being betrayed possibly. And we do not want to wake up and figure out what the plan is, okay? But this is where we have to be like John and Abigail, who continued to wake up and fight for America. And I'll get to that in a minute. I don't want to skip around too much. So here's where I want to go now. Well, let's think about this. Think about in COVID. I remember during COVID, we used to lead a gospel night out at a beer barbecue joint, and it shut down during COVID. And so that first Sunday we went live on Facebook and thinking in our heads that we'll do this one Sunday. And I think all of us dealt with this. We did not think, because we didn't want to think, that COVID was going to last all that long. And we all kind of hold on to those things. Okay, so here's where I want to go. I have promised, even in the intro of this podcast, no conspiracies. And so I want to stay away from some conspiracies, but I want to talk about some things that are kind of along the lines of the suspicious wife. She's starting to see the signs, okay? And even when the wife begins to see the signs, she doesn't even want to be suspicious. She sometimes turns her head and says, oh my gosh, is that lipstick on a collar, or is that, whatever. Like, I don't want to see that right now. And I feel like we as Americans are doing that to some degree. So I'm going to talk about some suspicions. I just have 3 little examples here. Some suspicions, if any of you have watched anything on this Uvalde shooting, mass shooting in this school, there's some suspicious things. Now, we may not know exactly what we're looking at. We may not be positive that that's lipstick on the collar or that's a sure sign of some foul play, but something is not right about this story. So here we are being suspicious, okay? And a few podcasts ago, I can't remember which number, and I meant to write it down, but anyway, I talked about, okay, I know which one it is. It's the podcast called How to Know When It's Time to Leave. And I gave several things that you needed to ask yourself. And I talked about one of the reasons that you don't want to leave is because you don't want to be that person, okay? So what I mean by that is, like in the analogy of a wife in an adulterous marriage, she doesn't want to be the wife who got cheated on. So she doesn't leave. She doesn't want to wake up to it. She doesn't want to create a plan. And that's what we're doing as Americans. We don't want to wake up and face that this is the America we live in, just like the wife doesn't want to wake up and face this is the marriage, the kind of marriage that you live in. So we as Americans we just don't want to. I guarantee you that you're finding those feelings of, I just don't want to. Surely this is not what's happening to America. Surely America hasn't gotten this dark, this, And so then another example is China flying into Taiwan. I mean, that's kind of a different subject, but I'm just talking about some things that have come up. Like, wait a minute, what's happening there? And that's more on a global level, which does absolutely deal with, is going to affect America. It's connected to the Ukraine, and I don't want to rabbit trail too far there. But anyway, these are things that they look like lipstick on the collar or notes in the pocket. They're like, what is that about? Why are you bullying Taiwan? Why are you sending that signal to Taiwan? What are you about to do? What's happening here? And then one, and I wish that I could say that this is a real one, so I want to be really clear here. I do not have proof that this is real, but somebody posted this on Facebook, and I'm going to, just for the sake of the discussion here, or the topic here, I'm going to, let's just assume that he has real facts to back this up. And what he posted is that there are schools, or a school that has been told they will not receive their funding unless boys can go in the girls' bathroom and girls can go in the boys' bathroom during the gender processing. If someone's processing whether they're a boy or a girl, they get to choose which restroom they want to go in, and that funding is not going to be given if you don't set that rule in your school. Now let's pretend, again, I'm not trying to start rumors, but let's pretend like that is an absolute, nobody's even holding back about it. It's a fact. The president is saying it. Let's just pretend that. Okay, well, that is when we have gone from, that might be lipstick on the collar, that might be a note in the pocket, a phone number in the pocket, to opening the door and finding the husband sleeping with the wife. Right? That's like, okay, now it gigs up. You can't pretend like it's not happening. Okay, so I believe that in America, we have a certain amount of suspicions. And this is why I say no conspiracies. I don't want to talk based on suspicions. I'll talk about suspicions, but I'm not going to declare them as this or that until they become provable and proven. And I do ask the Spirit of truth to lead me in all truth. And there's a timing of when to say that something is black or white. That's kind of a word in season. Instead of saying that is black when it still kind of looks white to some people and it's not really been proven yet. So that's what I'm talking about. Like, I don't want to just spout out, out of the rabbit hole stuff that I think I have seen in the darkness. I want to stay above the ground and ask the Spirit of truth to lead me in this, and then speak it out when it becomes a suspicion, yes. And but I think we have a lot of reckless language going on, which is where this podcast is going to lead to next. So anyway, let me make this point. When you come to the point that you've gone from, I think that might be lipstick on the collar, to I just opened the bedroom door, and it's proof, So if this thing in Uvalde gets proven that cops really held back for a deep state reason or whatever. Again, that's a suspicion, so it's not been proved yet. But if it gets proved, then we have to face it. Okay, so as Americans, there is enough proven fraudulence and all sorts of things, and there's enough suspicion for us to wake up, and not just wake up, but we've got to wake up and face this and get our butts out of bed and do something about it. Okay, so that's what I'm saying here. That's kind of half of what I'm saying here. Now I'm going to move to kind of a prophetic, what I believe the Lord is showing me prophetically. Okay, so this morning, and this is all tied together, so hang with me. So this morning, I opened up my phone, and I was reading some news or something, and an ad came, and it was an ad for an app called Babbel, which is misspelled. So I start to say, you all don't know how much I've struggled in spelling my whole life. And then everybody started misspelling the names of their company. So you know what I'm talking about. Like there's a company called Tackle, and they spelled it Takl. What? I just learned how to spell tackle the right way. No. So I want to bring that up because that is a form of confusion of language, but I'm jumping ahead. So let me back up. So I opened up a news email or something, and there was an advertisement for Babbel, the Babbel app, which I think is spelled Babbell or Babbel, whatever it is. And the top of the ad said, the summer of language. Okay, and immediately the Lord began to speak to me about what that means. So that's how things, I could open an email and it would say, focus rights are on sale, and that wouldn't mean anything to me. But then there are other times when a sentence pops out and I know that the Lord is trying to speak something to me. And this is a really cool revelation. So it's kind of unfolded yesterday and today. So anyway, it was called the Summer of Language. So let me back up to the Jewish year 5782, which is predominantly the year of 2022, okay? And I believe, I even talk about that in the book. I explained that in the book. By the way, let me interject this. I'm going to record John and Abigail in the coming weeks, and if you were if you pre-purchased the book, you get to get in on those sessions. We'll just do some videos and some live sessions and let you come in and watch the recording process. And if you want to buy this book today, you can go to commongroundsound.org, click on the book link, and if you buy it today or within a week, I will add you to that list if you want to get in on watching the process of recording that songs. There are 5 songs out of the book that I'm going to record, and John and Abigail is the first one. So anyway, all right, back to where I was. All right, so year of 5782. I talk about this. There is a prophetic explanation, and it's really very interesting. Now, I'm not an expert in Hebrew or any of the Jewish roots thing. I'm educated in it, but I'm not an expert in it. Anyway, the year 5782, I believe that's the right year, which is predominantly 2022, is the year of the voice. Okay, and you could probably Google that and find a teaching on that. It's the year of the voice, and it's why we saw masks over the voice and so on and so on. Okay, I'm not going to go down that trail, but it is. But I want to connect it to this. It's the year of the voice. I also had a prophetic dream about Blake Shelton And I'll tell you about that later. But as in Blake Shelton from The Voice, right? And that's a crazy thing that God is doing, but I can't talk about that today. I will tell you later. That my husband hates when I say that. I will tell you later. I'll tell you later. I tell him that over text and whatever often, and he says he's going to get a T-shirt that says "I'll tell you later." Anyway, sorry about that, but I'll tell you later. Okay, so now let's move to the point. The summer of language. Okay, so I posted on Facebook and social media that the Lord gave me a word, and the word was this: the spring is going there. In the spring, there's going to be massive shift. In the summer, there's going to be massive battle. In the fall, massive victory. And when he said in the fall, I hear in the fall and see in the fall as stuff is going to fall. Babylon is going to fall. There's a level of Babylon falling in the fall, okay? But in the summer, there is a battle going on, okay? And so I want to move right over here. I want to move to this question. What is deliverance? And I'm going to tie this all together. So, when the Bible talks about deliverance, or you hear Christians talk about deliverance, this is simply what deliverance is. Deliverance is God moving you out of one state of being or state of mind and into another state of being or state of mind. Okay? That's what deliverance is. So he moved the Israelites out of a state of bondage in Egypt and into a state of freedom in the promised land, the promise of freedom. And by the way, that's what America is all about, freedom. Okay, so again, that's what deliverance is. So I'm going to talk about Hinkley, who has been in the news this week. And Hinkley is the person who shot Ronald Reagan, trying to kill President Reagan. And Hinkley's mindset was in bondage. It was twisted. And he watched a movie called Taxi Driver, I think it is, and he had a crush on Jodie Foster, an actress in the movie. And he shot Ronald Reagan to impress Jodie Foster. Okay, that is unsound thinking. That is twisted mindset in bondage. That is, he's in a state of bondage in his mind. And if he would let the Lord in, if he would let the Spirit of truth come in and just say, okay, what is the truth? Come and speak the truth to me. If he would do that, and he's apparently, he's being released and he's been evaluated, and through therapy, he shows no signs of this unsound thinking anymore. You know, who knows whether that's true. But if that were true, then it means that his mind got straightened out. And if he would have come to, I'll just tell you, you should just cut the fat and don't go anywhere else except the Spirit of truth, and ask the Spirit of truth to come and lead you in all truth, and that truth will set you free. And so if Hinkley would have done that, what would have happened is the Spirit of truth would have told him, not only is Jodie Foster not going to be impressed with this, but Jodie Foster is going to be alarmed by that kind of behavior, because that kind of behavior is unsound and insane, and you need my help. You need my help to straighten this out. And so let's just say that John Hinkley, I think that's his name, let's just say that he submitted himself to the Lord in that way. Before he shot Ronald Reagan, he would have moved over from this wicked thinking over into sound thinking, and that would be deliverance. He moved, and that would also be he would move into the promise of freedom from that wicked bondage in his mental bondage, right? That's what deliverance is. Okay, so I say all of that because I said one time to some people who we were dealing with a person who had not insane and not just wrong thinking within ministry. And we were praying for this person to go through deliverance, to be moved out of that thinking and into sound thinking. And I said to them, you will know when this person has been delivered, because he will begin to use a language you've never heard him use. Now that's the real point that I want to talk about. Okay, so when somebody goes through deliverance, and they did talk about John Hinkley has been he's been evaluated, and when you evaluate someone, you start to listen to their language. Okay, how's he talking? What's the language he's using? Right? Okay, so this is what the Lord is saying. This summer is going to be battle. Okay, there's going to be a massive battle. I believe that Roe versus Wade is going to be overturned, and then all hell is going to break loose. I think that's one of the things that's going to happen, possibly. And I believe that the leak that happened, now see, here I go. These are suspicions, okay? But I believe that the leak was the first test of how bad is this going to get. And then a damage control plan is possibly being played out. Anyway, different subject. Let me move back to this. So what I said was, you will know that he's been delivered because he will start using a language you have never heard him use. Okay, so even back to the misspelled things, I think that's even a prophetic sign that we have a very confused language. We're very confused in America. And I know that you, like me, have felt like, what are you even, I can't believe that's coming out of your mouth. What are you saying? And then your friends that you used to could talk to and have coffee with and talk, they're like, what are you saying? I can't even, and I think I talked about that in the beginning of seeing Biden. But anyway, it has been this completely confused language. What's going to happen over the summer of language is, and again, the app is Babel, right? Because that's what we've got, a Babylonian situation in America that is based on bondage, not based on freedom. But what's going to happen in this battle over the summer is you're going to begin to hear people that were far left liberals are going to start speaking a language that you have not heard them hear. And these radical redneck right side people, they're going to calm down and they're going to have a different language. And everybody's going to, and I'm telling you, we're going to melt down to a sound-minded middle ground, a common ground. And then we're going to rise up together. We're going to wake up, pray up, rise up, and speak up. And it's already actually over gun reform. You're hearing people say, reasonable Republicans. I think that's the phrase they're using. McConnell, I think. Anyway, the point is they're saying we're leaning on reasonable Republicans or logical Republicans because these Republicans are starting to use language that more matches up with ours. And so this is the summer of language. And what's happening is we as a family, we as the family of America are getting delivered by the Spirit of truth. The Spirit of truth is going to come and pull us out of the bondage of Egypt, right, of twisted thinking and over into the promise of freedom thinking. And we're going to start speaking the same language, and then all manner of beautiful things are going to happen. And that is really what I believe. Okay, I might still be being a little pearl naive here, but I really do believe that every single time I press into this and pray and try to contend with the feelings of we've lost America, it's gone. No, we have not lost. Every time I press in with the Lord, that's what I get filled. I get filled with, no, we have not lost America. However, we must rise up. I'm trying to find something to grab. In the year of the voice, we have to rise up and be a voice like John and Abigail. And we have to muster ourselves out of bed. If you haven't seen the John Adams series that HBO did, I strongly suggest that you watch it. It'll rile you up. That you've got to fight. They fought at great cost. And in both places, let me go back to the wife and back to America, and then I'm going to wrap it up. So when the wife realizes where she is, like, okay, there's no denying this anymore. I just walked in on this. I have to make a plan. That is where prayer, like, oh God, I'm hurt, I'm wounded, I've been betrayed, I have no energy for this. My depression is trying to shut my eyes down. You've got to pray right there and say, Lord, wake me up and give me John and Abigail passion and fire to work a strategy with you to bring America back to the freedom that is your heart. It's your will. It's what you want, and it's what this country was about from the get-go. And we've continued to have to fight to preserve freedom. And so let's do it. This is an opportunity for our generation to rise up and fight this fight. And that's what I had to share with you this week. I'll see you next time. Oh, by the way, this all brings me to Johnny Depp. That's on the next episode. I'll see you there.